So we're back again talking about qualities, traits of someone with a superstar mindset. Today we're going to be talking about resilience and grit. Superstars possess an extraordinary level of perseverance and mental toughness. They can maintain focus and determination in the face of adversity, bounce back from setbacks, and keep going despite difficulties or delays in achieving their goals. Bob, when we're talking about resilience and grit, what does that make you think? Where does it take your head to?
Well, there's two different things. I think resilience, I mean, they do kind of go hand in hand, but I think breaking them down separately is probably important. I think they're important in any position, not just in real estate, but in real estate, there's special circumstances. I think when it comes to resilience, I mean, talk about the market, right?
Yeah.
Like the fluctuations in the market. I mean, if you're not resilient in the face of market fluctuations, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, we deal with that. I mean, we've gone through some crazy years. The past couple of years have been crazy.
And like you said, that's not even, that's a great example of it in real estate, of being able to bounce through the market and bounce back through all the challenges and adversity. But resilience is a whole life trait. I mean, because regardless of what industry or what background or where you're from, there's gonna be some turbulent times in life. You're gonna have some turbulent times. If it was just easy, everybody would get through it and rock it away, right? We all gotta have that resilience and be able to push through and bounce back from those setbacks, because we're all gonna have them. That's a big one.
What about rejection?
Man, the resilience from rejection. This, Bob, when you ask that question, it's one of those that sometimes as a parent, we feel it, because we've taught our kids and we've helped train them that it's okay to sometimes push through that first no. And to continue to push through. Now, there's times where we say, hey, it's time to go to bed. And they're like, well, and they want to work through it and show that they're resilient in that aspect. But that's a really, really big one, because we all going to get some rejection at some phase of our life.
Being able to have tough skin when it comes to that. I remember my first sales job was at a mortgage company, AmeriQuest Mortgage. And, I thought I was getting in, I was leaving the restaurant business. I'm going to get in the mortgage business. Well, the first place that was supposed to hire me, I went there, after I put in a 2-month notice with my dad at the Big Boy, I went to this mortgage company and they said, we decided not to hire you.
Oh, how'd you handle that?
Well, I couldn't go back to my dad, right? So I had to find a way through. Well, I got a job at a company called AmeriQuest Mortgage. And at the time, this was 2000, December 31st, 1999 is when I left the restaurant business. So this would be the beginning of 2000. I've got this job at AmeriQuest Mortgage, and they said, okay, here's what we want you to do. We want you to make 100 phone calls, and out of the 100 phone calls, we want you to get 10 applications, and out of the 10 applications, we want at least one of them to work.
100 phone calls, 10 applications, at least one of them to work.
Yeah, one of them to be able to go through. So they wanted you to put one deal together every single day.
Okay.
But that's not how I looked at it. Today, if I was in a situation where they were like, okay, here's the job, this is the baseline, you got to put one deal together every single day. I mean, that would be like gold, right?
Yeah.
But instead, what my mind did is I went to being rejected 99 times. And ultimately, I walked out on that job after the second day because I said, I cannot handle this rejection.
Really?
And in today's day, I was like, that's all we do is get rejected.
It's part of the game.
I mean, it's not all we do. Of course, we got to go through all that rejection. We know now, got to go through all that rejection to get to the gold, right?
We frame it today as in our language patterns of you get told 19 times no to get to that one yes.
One.
To get to that one yes.
It might not even be a yes for now. It's a yes in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's a big part of it. But that resilience too, Bob, it's like one of those, and not to go too deep into it, but the resilience, that the story that I have, a little bit of trouble that I got in back at that one point in time, being able to push through that.
Yeah.
Like, because many would have let it end there.
Oh, you're talking about your real estate license.
That was one of them, but the whole process before of leading to the real estate license and why there was a hang up of getting the real estate license. And we do have a great story to tell about me getting my real estate license.
Yeah.
Because the hang up that was thrown in there, something that I had did back in the past, without resilience and grit, it would have been very easy to just throw the towel in and chalk it up and not be right here having this conversation today.
Yeah.
It's a big trait to have. You know, when you're separating the two, you made a good point there, right? So you have the resilience, going to the grit.
I think one of the things that requires grit the most is our sales cycle.
One of the things that requires
the most grit
the most is the sales cycle. Go deeper on that.
Well, our sales cycle is 6 months plus. I mean, we've been seeing up to 13 months from the time we contact, sometimes even longer. I mean,
yeah.
We have better luck talking to people that came into our system 3 years ago than we do, but I wouldn't say better, but
yeah.
You know, it takes a long time from initial contact to the point that somebody's actually ready to make a move. And you know, when I frame it within the real estate business, it's like I look at it as 6 months. Anything that I do today isn't going to show up for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like,
delayed gratification.
Right. Like, and for people that want things instantly, like most of us do, most of us want instant gratification. So like to be able to make it through that process, to see the results 6 months later, that takes grit.
What do we call it? It's a process, not an event. When we talk about that instant gratification versus delayed gratification, we all want instant gratification.
Yeah.
But when it comes time, when it really comes to it, a lot of success, and not just business, but success in life itself. Let's bring up going to the gym.
Yeah.
It's delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. Because if it was so easy as going to the gym for a week and seeing all the results that you wanted to see, we'd all be walking around as fit as we want to be. But it's like at the same time, things take time and consistency over time in order to build to the desired result that you want. Delayed gratification versus instant gratification.
Yeah, Darren Hardy says something like, if you knew that eating a cheeseburger would make you a fat ass, you wouldn't eat a cheeseburger. But it's like it doesn't show up the day you eat the cheeseburger. It shows up later on.
Yeah.
So, you know, that long process, or the process takes grit. It takes grit to stay in the box, stay in the game. So I think another thing that requires grit is constantly learning, like staying in the game of learning, even when it's uncomfortable. I find some of the most uncomfortable times is when it's beautiful outside, the wind's blowing, I got my windows down, and I want to listen to music.
Yeah.
It takes grit to listen to a book. It takes grit to listen to a podcast that's about business and about growing and about getting better at what you do. That takes grit. It takes grit, where other people might just take what feels good.
It's not always easy.
Something that helps with having determination and having grit, I think, is having a picture of what you want.
Yeah.
Having a picture of where you're going and why you're doing it. Like, I think that is probably one of the biggest factors that increase your grit and increase your determination. If you can see it and you can feel it and you can touch it and you know that it's yours, it helps you stay in the box and do the things you have to do and not what you want to do.
Yeah. In addition to that too, it's actually reflecting to progress.
Yeah.
A big part of that is like, yes, we always want to know. Now, I'm not saying stare in the rearview mirror, but also those rearview mirror moments are some of the biggest learning lessons that we have. So when you sit down and you actually focus and give attention to what it is that you've been through and the lessons that you've learned from it so that you don't have to go through it again. Now, if you have that crystal clear image of where you want to get to, when another obstacle comes in the way, you know from past experience, like, hey, I don't have to do this on my own. I can go to one of my resources. Or the last time I went through a situation like this is how I got through it. Yeah. Because it's not going to be an easy peasy process throughout it, you know. You're going to have those times, and sometimes slowing down to reflect so that you can progress is a big area in there as well. So being able to lock in on where you want to get to is a really, really good one. Yeah. I love that, man. You got any others?
I think another big one for resilience is like adapting, like adaptive resilience. I mean, I think like you have to adapt to what's going on around you. You have to adapt. And it's like, I think there's a difference. Like resilience is like, to me, is like staying in the long game, right? Like
Yeah.
it's staying in and doing what's necessary, maybe not what's comfortable, but to adapt, it kind of takes away from the but it's not. You have to stay in the zone and stay on task, but sometimes you have to adapt, and sometimes the adapt is through learning. I think that's a lot of it. You have to be able to learn and adapt to the environment and to the market and to technology and to all the things that are around you.
Gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable sometimes.
Right.
Get comfortable, because like you said, I mean, it's one of those things, like I heard it before, he said the only person that likes change is a baby with a wet diaper.
Yeah.
And sometimes that resilience does mean, again, after you do some of your reflecting, it's adjusting. It's a learning process throughout the way. You gotta be resilient enough to be aware and say, hey, there's things that I can do to get better at this right here and continue to grow in those areas.
Yeah. And adapting isn't chasing the next shiny object. I think a lot of people chase shiny objects, and I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, we all are.
You chase the shiny object because you think it's going to make what you do easier.
Yeah.
And that takes you out of what you're doing, which is the opposite of resilience.
Yeah. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. Makes me think about one that Tim Grover used to say about, or that he said about Michael Jordan, arguably the best basketball player ever, right? One of the things that he said was that Michael Jordan would start out every workout by doing chest passes. And when asked about why he does that, and it was just the continual process of focusing on getting a little bit better every single day and focusing on what works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not always chasing that next shiny object. It's about continually doing what's already working. And is there going to be some adjusting and some adapting in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some of that in there, but continually doing something over time so that you continue to get better at it. That's a big, big quality of resilience and grit.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Really, really good stuff.
As far as resilience and grit, I mean, it's definitely a must if you want to be a superstar.
You got to have it. And hope that you
stay in the box.
Stay in the box. Have some resilience. Have some grit. Hope that you got something from this little conversation that Bob and I had today.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Our YouTube channel is growing. I mean, we're almost to 300 subscribers now, which is
big time.
It's more than double from 6 months ago. So we're starting to get a lot more people watching, a lot more people finding value in our content. So if you do find value in it, please subscribe to our channel. Maybe
comment as well. Throw a comment out there, ask a question, or if you have any video topics that we could have a conversation about, drop them in the comments below. Hope you got something from it.